Hi, I'm Harper the Fox, and I have been a live webcam broadcaster since 2013. I have conversations all the time with all kinds of people. I have had great conversations, I have had terrible conversations, and I thought it would be really fun today to go to the internet and look at advice that gurus are offering you and try and weed through what's good advice, what's bad advice. Let's get into it.
For folks who have a hard time making conversation, there's a science behind having a good conversation.
The best conversations and the best conversationalists, they always set the intention for the conversation. And this helps ward against, those awkward lulls or pauses.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen when you set an intention. So what I want you to think about before you meet someone, before you go to an event, is what do you want to bring from the event? What do you want to bring to the event? So are you there to get new business? Are you there to meet a significant other? Are you there to just have a good time? Are you there to learn something about someone? Just setting that minor intention, I always do it on the car, no matter where I'm going, that helps you guide your conversation.
This is an interesting one. This is a tip that I haven't heard before. It sounds like a more business-minded approach, whether you are deliberately going out to find yourself a significant other or get new clients for your business. If you have a clear purpose like that, going in and just knowing what you're there for and getting it done, that makes a lot of sense to me. I do wonder about this piece of advice in the context of you want to leave yourself open to surprise and to be ready to be surprised by what your conversation partner has to offer. The last example she gave of, maybe you're just looking to laugh. That's an interesting one, but if you go to an event and you're really just looking to laugh and that's what you have in mind, it might cut you off from having a really engaging conversation with somebody who maybe doesn't joke very much, maybe has a sort of subdued sense of humor, or you have different senses of humor, but maybe they are an absolutely fascinating person who has a wealth of knowledge on a subject you like, and you just don't get there because you're busy looking for somebody who can joke with you. I think that might sort of cut you off from those kinds of wonderful little surprises.
Conversation is all about quality. Try to remove all types of filler words like, like, I guess, well, These words bring no value to the conversation and they literally mean nothing. Listen to the following paragraph. What did you do this winter? Well, I had an okay time this break. I went snowboarding for the first time with some of my friends and it was actually a lot harder than it looked. That's about it. I guess I had fun. Haha. Now compare it to this. What did you do this winter? Me and my friends went snowboarding. It was actually my first time and it was a lot harder than it looked. Notice how the second version is much shorter, but the information being conveyed is the exact same. However, it sounds more confident and even more sophisticated.
I think this is a fantastic tip to practice and maybe something to not let fill your mind when you're having a conversation, because sometimes filler words can help you just gather your thoughts for a second and tone down some of the anxiety that often comes with meeting a new person or having a conversation. So certainly don't beat yourself up if you catch yourself using these. But something that occurred to me while watching that clip was a fantastic place to practice this and start bringing it into verbal conversation is in written conversation. And specifically, I'm thinking of texting and messaging people. I find so often I just sort of roll my eyes at unnecessary LOLs and I guesses and ums in a written paragraph. So starting to practice taking those things out of written text and getting confident saying what you mean and meaning what you say and letting other people react how they will, that I think is maybe a good workup to bringing that into verbal conversation.
The human voice. It's the instrument we all play. It's the most powerful sound in the world, probably. It's the only one that can start a war or say, I love you. And yet many people have the experience that when they speak, people don't listen to them. Why is that? How can we speak powerfully to make change in the world? What I'd like to suggest, there are a number of habits that we need to move away from. I've assembled for your pleasure here 7 deadly sins of speaking. I'm not pretending this is an exhaustive list, but these 7, I think, are pretty large. Habits that we can all fall into. So here they are, 7 deadly sins of speaking. These are things I think we need to avoid.
All right, for this list of things to avoid, I would say 100,000% this is solid advice. A lot of the things you hear all the time about, oh, you should never discuss politics or you should never discuss religion. There is a time and a place for all of those things, but when it comes to the items on this list, I have a really hard time thinking of a situation where those are pleasant pieces of a conversation to encounter with another person. It is really difficult to have a good time or to feel like you're making an authentic connection with someone who's being dogmatic. It's hard to feel like you can trust someone who loves to gossip about others or judge others. These are all things that everybody slips into. There's no sense in beating yourself up if this is something you fall into. Sometimes everybody does, but it's worth trying to put up a little red flag of, that's a moment where I was not being a very appealing person or being a very open person and inviting person to talk to. So learning to recognize when you're doing those things and redirect your energy to something more positive and warm and open, I think is fantastic advice.
The other great surprise about conversations is how much we like it when people show vulnerability. We always think that what we need to do to get other people to like us is to show how well things are going for us. Surprisingly, that's actually not very appealing. It's not that we want others to fail. We just need to know that our own sorrows have echoes in the lives of others. That's what connects us. Strength may be impressive, but it's vulnerability that builds friendships.
I think just universally in a conversation, people want to feel like they are interesting to you and fascinating to you. And one of the ways that you can communicate that, and maybe even before you've sort of identified the thing about them that is fascinating, sort of dig and find it for yourself, is to be willing to ask what feel like much more intimate questions about what the person is feeling or about things that they've brought up that must have been very difficult in their lives. And you certainly don't need to really heavily dwell in those things or try to make the person sad or upset, but being willing to see what someone is presenting to you and ask after it and be curious. I think people, nearly universally or completely universally do appreciate that. It makes them feel seen, and you are much more likely to learn things about the person that endear them to you as opposed to just a bullet point life history. Wow, that was fun. And hopefully after seeing all this, you're gonna have an awesome conversation with somebody in your life today. Thank you for watching Camming Life. Subscribe to this channel, leave a like. Once again, I'm Harper the Fox. Thank you so much.